Hi, I'm Jason from Art-A-Craft, and today I want to show you two music boxes that I've been working on. The first one has a puck-shaped base, which I made out of a piece of roll our packaging paper comes in for the store. And the Tim Holtz die side circles happen to cut the perfect top and bottom that fits perfectly inside that. And then above that I have put a Tim Holtz Luminary. So it's actually a lantern music box. So I started off making a fanciful flight butterfly just as a decoration to go with some flowers for them, and ended up somehow making a music box. The second music box is a Tim Holtz Gramophone. I used a 5.5 by 5.5 coordinations box as the base and grunge paper to make the horn. Okay, so here is the first music box. It is made with the Luminary die by Tim Holtz, and I'm really loving these lanterns. As you can see here, I've started making a more grungy guy's approach to a lantern with dark sooty looking windows done with alcohol ink, and I've made this all out of real copper roll by 10-second studio metal and gone over it with a little bit of dark alcohol ink to give it that real sooty look. So for the Fanciful Flight die, I ended up adding this small metal fab scraps butterfly to the center, which I inked up with the same colors of alcohol ink that I did the wings with, which will have a layer of acetate in between. And if we get up close, you can actually see that the back of the wings is been embossed with the swirls as well, just to give it a bit of texture in there. And all the borders of the wings I have painted up with Viva texture metal paint, as I'm loving that. As you would have seen on the steampunk clock, me and that mother of mine are both really enjoying our kind of grungy metallic look with all the Viva products. So the top, the Luminary, I ended up just having this as one piece that pulls off. I decided in the end that that was the lesser of two evils, as the paper over time, if I'm squeezing that and pulling the roof out, is going to crack and change shape and not quite hold the same way I want to over time. So I've added a few basic things, embellishments to it, and gone over the whole thing with fast finish decoupage, just so it's got a nice sturdy coating on the outside and can be handled by everyone that wants to see it. And I also put a little bit of the same colors of the alcohol inks in the windows. So the trunk of the tree trunk style part is actually irrigation hose out of the garden. I've gessoed it and painted it in crackle paint. This was the walnut stain Tim Holtz crackle paint, and I gave it a bit of a black grunge with some black paint over the top just to give it that extra texture. I hung the sign using a couple of vintage eye pins. Here's the puck part, as I call it, of the music box, and I put some hitch fasteners for feet, which is a favourite of ours. And the paper for both this and the Luminary on top is the Secret Garden by G45. And again here for the surround, just to put a washer over there and to hide the hole that this big handle had to come through, I used grunge paper, which I painted black. And this window is, the surround is all made with grunge paper as well. And I was after a very simple look, I guess you'd call it. So I just added a few flowers to correspond to the colours of the flowers on the paper, and a couple of embellishments. And the music box, of course, works. One of the things I wanted with this, because of the circular base, is that I could I would be able to turn it around and still it would look pretty good from the back as well. And I really didn't want to decorate the trunk all the way up. I wanted to be able to leave it so you could really see the grungy, rough nature of it. So I added the sign and a few embellishments at the bottom just to draw your eye away and not leave the whole thing too barren. Well, I don't have any pictures of me making the second one, as I intended it just as a gift. I do have pictures of all the steps I went through for making the gramophone, so I will show you those and talk you through what I've done. But this is, as I said earlier, the configurations box. I've taken out some of the compartments so it only fills one side, and that way it leaves room for the music mechanism to take up the other. Again, this plays its little style. I used 10-second studio metal for all these surrounds, which I've embossed with one of the 10-second studio plates. Kaisercraft papers to give it this wood look, which are all covered in decoupage. The whole thing basically is covered in fast finish decoupage. The metal, all this paint, which is just black gesso, which shows up really nicely once it's had about 3 layers of decoupage on top of it. Same with this horn, which is all made of grunge paper with that same metal design made with copper. And this is all the Viva textured metal effect and the copper with a layer of black rubbed on with my fingers just to give it that grungy look. Again, hitch fasteners underneath. This is an old button which I use some Viva rub on to give it the same copper tones as the rest of it. And the end of a memo pin is what the needle is. And then on the record, since this is due to this mainly being made out of Tim Holtz products, I decided where they'd normally have the signature at the bottom of the record to sign it with Tim Holtz's name, and reworded the song on the record as the song that plays off the music box. Just as that extra touch, even if I'm the only one that notices it.
Would you like me to show me what you're up to there, Jason? This is the start of it. It's going to become a gramophone with the music box in, like we said before. A little handle here to wind the music box, and the inside there's actually going to be a drawer that's going to be able to be pulled out, and so you can have lots of little trinkets in it, or whatever he decides. And you can see that they're also made out of the configuration box.
You can push it out.
Can you push
It does work. Yeah, just push the little bits. Yeah.
Okay, so the drawer is going to come out like so, and you're going to be able to put things in there, and this side is where the music box will sit.